Hello guys, hello everyone. Today we're going to discuss the investigation of the role of the hormones in the regulation of physical, mental and sexual development. Mehdi will start with the introduction.
Okay. Introduction. The endocrine system is a series of glands that produce and secrete hormones that the body uses for a wide range of function. They make the hormones that help cells talk to each other. They are responsible for almost every cell's organ and function in your body. Hormones are produced by glands and sent into the bloodstream to the various tissues in the body. They send signals to those tissues to tell them what they are supposed to do. When the glands do not produce the right amount of hormones, disease develops that can affect many aspects of life.
The main glands of the endocrine system. While many parts of the body make hormones, the major glands that make up the endocrine system are the hypothalamus, pituitary, thyroid, parathyroids, adrenals, pineal gland, the ovaries, and the testes. Endocrine system functions. Your endocrine system makes hormone that controls the moods, growth, development, metabolism, heart rate, blood pressure, appetite, sleeping and waking cycles, body temperature, organs and sexual functions and reproductions. Controls how your hormones are released and sends those hormones into your bloodstream so they can travel to other parts of your body. The endocrine hormones. The endocrine hormones are carried by the circulatory system to cells throughout the body, including the nervous system in some cases, where they bind with receptors and initiate many reactions. Some endocrine hormones affect many different types of cells of the body. For example, growth hormone from the anterior pituitary gland causes growth in most parts of the body, and thyroxine from the thyroid gland increases the rate of many chemical reactions in almost all the body's cells. Other hormones affect only specific target tissues because only these tissues have many receptors for the hormone. For example, adrenocorticotropic hormone from the anterior pituitary gland specifically stimulates the adrenal cortex, causing it to secrete adrenocortical hormones, and the ovarian hormones have specific effects on the female sex organs as well as on the secondary sexual characteristics of female body. Chemical structure and synthesis of hormones. There are three general classes of hormones. First, protein and polypeptides, including hormones secreted by the anterior and posterior pituitary gland, the pancreas, insulin and glucagon, the parathyroid gland, parathyroid hormone, and many others. Two, steroids secreted by the adrenal cortex, cortisol and aldosterone, the ovaries, estrogen and progesterone, the testes, testosterone. 3. Derivatives of the amino acid tyrosine, secreted by thyroid, thyroxine and triiodothyronine, and adrenal medulla, epinephrine and norepinephrine. There are no known polysaccharides or nucleic acid hormones. Thyroid gland. The thyroid gland, located immediately below the larynx on each side of the anterior to the trachea, is one of the largest endocrine glands, normally weighing 15 to 20 grams in adults. The thyroid secretes two major hormones, thyroxine and triiodothyronine, commonly called T4 and T3. Respectively, both of these hormones profoundly increase the metabolic rate of the body. Complete lack of thyroid secretion usually causes basal metabolic rate to fall 40 to 50% below normal, and extreme excesses of thyroid secretion can increase the basal metabolic rate to 60 to 100% above normal. Thyroid secretion is controlled primarily by the thyroid-stimulating hormone secreted by anterior pituitary gland. The thyroid gland also secretes calcitonin, an important hormone for calcium metabolism. The thyroid hormones are iodinated amino acids which have been synthesized and are readily available for experimental and clinical use. Most of thyroxine secreted by the thyroid is converted to triiodothyronine before acting on the genes to increase genetic transcription, one iodine is removed from all the thyroxine, thus forming triiodiothionine. Intercellular thyroid hormone receptors have a very high affinity for triiodiothionine. Consequently, more than 90% of the thyroid hormone molecules that bind with the receptors is triiodiothionine. Thyroxine T4 is a hormone the thyroid gland secretes into the bloodstream. Once in the bloodstream, thyroxine travels to organs like the liver and kidneys, where it's converted to its active form of triiodiothionine. Thyroxine plays a crucial role in heart and digestive functions, metabolism, brain development, bone health, and muscle control. It affects almost all of the body's system, which means proper thyroxine levels are vital for health. Triiodiothionine T3. There is evidence that T3 is the active form of the hormone and that T4 is converted to T3 before it can act physiologically. T3 is liberated by proteolysis of thyroglobulin and is found in the blood in extremely small amounts. It possesses all the physiological actions of thyroid material and is considered to be the active intercellular thyroid hormone. Depending upon the test used for comparison, T3 is 2 to 6 times more active than T4. T3 is loosely bound to the plasma proteins, which contributes to its more rapid onset and shorter duration of action compared to the action of T4. In this picture, we can see the thyroid hormone activation of target cells, thyroxine T4 and triiodiothionine T3, readily diffuse through the cell membrane. Much of the T4 is deiodinated to form T3, which interacts with the thyroid hormone receptor, bound as heterodimer with a retinoid X receptor of the thyroid hormone response element of the gene. This causes either increases or decreases in transcription of genes that lead to formation of proteins, thus producing the thyroid hormone response of the cell. The actions of thyroid hormone on cells of several different systems are shown in this picture. Thyroid stimulating hormone, thyrotropin, is the section of the secretion of thyroid hormone is regulated by the hypothalamic pituitary thyroid feedback system. In this system, thyrotropin releasing hormone TRH, which is produced by the hypothalamus, controls the release of thyroid stimulating hormone TSH from the anterior pituitary gland. TSH is a glycoprotein composed of an alpha and a beta chain. The alpha chain is closely similar to in sequence to the alpha chains of FSH, LH, and HCG. The beta chain amino acid sequence is different for each of the aforementioned glycoproteins hormones and confers the biologic activity and specificity to each of these hormones. Actions of TSH. Thyrotropin stimulates the thyroid follicular cells to increase the synthesis and release of the thyroid hormones. These are two separate and distinct actions of TSH. TSH has the following specific actions. Mode of action. The mechanism of TSH activation of increased thyroid gland activity is via combination with the TSH receptor and rapid subsequent generation, second messengers. Rapid increase in follicle cell metabolism. There are increase in O2 used, CO2 production, glucose uptake, and utilization, etc. There is also a marked increase in blood flow that occurs hours to days after TSH administration. Rapid increase in the secretion of stored thyroid hormones. This effect can be detected within minutes. The mechanism is via activation of the cyclic AMP system, which in turn activates a proteolytic enzyme which hydrolyzes the peptide bonds of the colloid, release free T3 and T4. In this picture, we can see the hypothalamic pituitary thyroid feedback system. The feedback, when it's stimulated and notices that there is something wrong in the blood or something missing, he will generate the hormone TRH, which stimulate anterior pituitary to stimulate it to secrete TSH, which will go by the circulatory system to the thyroid, which stimulates it to send and secrete T4 and T3. Then, when the normal hormones in the blood is back to normal, the inhibitory feedback will go back, will affect and send a stimulus to the hypothalamus, which will stop releasing the TRH hormone to the anterior pituitary, which therefore the anterior pituitary will stop releasing the TSH to the thyroid, and that is how this mechanism affects.
Effect of thyroid hormone on growth. In humans, the effect of thyroid hormone on growth is manifested mainly in growing children. In those who are hypothyroid, the rate of growth is greatly retarded. In those who are hyperthyroid, excessive skeletal growth often occurs, causing the child to become considerably taller at an earlier age. However, the bones also mature more rapidly and the epiphyses close at an early age, so that the duration of growth and the eventual height of the adult may actually be shortened. An important effect of the thyroid hormone is to promote growth and development of the brain during fetal life for the first few years of postal life. If the fetus does not secrete sufficient quantities of thyroid hormone, growth and maturation of the brain, both before birth and afterward, are greatly retarded and the brain remains smaller than normal. Effect of thyroid hormone on sexual function. For normal sexual function, thyroid secretion needs to be approximately normal. In men, lack of thyroid hormone is likely to cause loss of libido. Great excesses of the hormone, however, sometimes cause impotence. In women, lack of thyroid hormone often causes menorrhagia and polymenorrhea, that is, respectively, excessive and frequent menstrual bleeding. Yet, strangely enough, in other women, thyroid lack may cause irregular period, occasionally even amenorrhea. The action of thyroid hormone on the gonads cannot be pinpointed to a specific function, but probably results from a combination of direct metabolic effects on the gonads as well as excitatory inhibitory feedback effects that control the sexual functions of the hormone. The specific bodily mechanisms. 1. Stimulation of carbohydrate metabolism. 2. Stimulation of fat metabolism. 3. Effect on plasma and liver fats. Increased thyroid hormone decreases the concentrations of cholesterol, phospholipids, and triglycerides in the plasma, even though it increases the free fatty acids. 4. Increased requirement for vitamins. 5. Increased basal metabolic rate. 6. Decreased body weight. Greatly increased thyroid hormone almost always decreases the body weight. And finally, increased blood flow and cardiac output. Effects of the thyroid hormone on specific body mechanisms: increased heart rate, increased heart strength, normal arterial pressure, increased respiration. The increased rate of metabolism increases the utilization of oxygen and formation of carbon dioxide. Increased gastrointestinal motility, excitatory effects on the central nervous system, effect on sleep, on the function of the muscle.
Okay, and at the end, thank you for attention. I hope you understood.